We got it. All right, thank you. It is International Golden Retriever Day. It is Take a Cruise Day. And it's Working Naked Day, but thankfully it doesn't appear that anybody in the room is celebrating that. I can't speak to anybody what they may be doing if they're working from home today. February is, of course, also Black History Month, and so we'll have to feature that a bit more prominently in the program a little later on. But today is also important because in February, we typically focus on governance at the various levels. And today we are very pleased to welcome Mayor Sheldon Neely from the city of Flint. He'll be joining us as our featured presenter. But before we get there, let's proceed with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Thank you. And as Rotarians, we try to live by the four-way test. So if you'll repeat with me, of the things we think, say, or do. It is the truth. It is the faithful. Will it be beneficial? Thank you. And today we are fortunate to have Jean Dennis with us delivering our inspirational message.
Thank you, President Elizabeth. When you said you're fortunate to have me here, I kind of wonder about that. I want to talk to you today a little bit about Edgar Albert Guest, Bud Guest, better known as. He penned some 11,000 poems, which were syndicated in some 300 newspapers and collected in more than 20 books over his lifetime. He was born in England, emigrated to the United States at the age of 10, and by the time he was 14, was working for the Flint Journal, no, for the Detroit Free Press as a copy boy. And by the time he was 18, he was a reporter for the Detroit Free Press and penned his first poem that appeared in the newspaper on the 11th of December, 1898. Now, his sentimental, optimistic poems led to a weekly radio show in Detroit. It was hosted from 1931 to 1942. And by 1951, he was also on an NBC television show called A Guest in Your House. Guest was made Poet Laureate of Michigan, the only poet to have ever been awarded that title. I'd like to share with you today one of his 11,000 poems entitled, It Couldn't Be Done. Somebody said it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't, but he would be the one who wouldn't say until he tried. So he buckled right in, and with a trace of a grin on his face, if he worried, he hit it. He started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Somebody scoffed, "Oh, you'll never do that. At least no one has ever done it." But he took off his hat, took off his coat, and the first thing you know, he begun it. With a lift of his chin and a bit of a grin, without any doubting or quit it, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. There are thousands that tell you it can't be done. There are thousands that prophesy failure. There are thousands who point out to you the dangers that await that will assail you. But just buckle it in with a bit of a grin, take off your coat and go to it. Just start to sing as you tackle the thing that couldn't be done, and you'll do it. Enjoy the day.
Thank you very much, Jean. Everybody, please enjoy your lunches, and we'll reconvene in just a minute. All right, welcome back, everybody. By all means, please continue to eat and enjoy your lunch as we get underway with our program. Just wanted to do a little mic check. I know we've been playing with the sound equipment the last couple of weeks. How is the audio in the room? Can you hear me okay in the back? Better than last week? Okay, excellent. So I know for folks on Zoom, this is not the preferred microphone. I will do my best to angle my voice this way a little bit so that you can hear better on Zoom. Thank you. All right. So I wanted to share with you a couple of announcements as we get going today. One is that one of the things I love about Rotarians is that we are connected, we are networked in, and can help make wonderful things happen. So last Friday, if you recall, I shared that we were ready to donate our Rotary piano, since it's no longer played on a regular basis here, and put the call out if anybody knew of a good home it could go to. And so I want to say thank you to Elizabeth Cummins, because no sooner had that gone out that she was able to make a connection. And so I had the opportunity to talk last night with a principal from Greater Heights Academy, which is a charter school here in Flint. They go up through grade 6, and he said that they are trying to start a fine arts program there and would really make good use of the piano. So we're making arrangements to make sure that they can do that. And what's more, he's maybe even interested in coming to our club and having a chance to visit and get to know a little bit about that. He actually had been a speaker. His name is Richard Thompson, and he had been a speaker here way back when we were still meeting at Sarvis. So he had very fond memories of the Rotary Club of Flint and was very appreciative of that. So the legacy continues. And as mentioned earlier, this being Black History Month, I wanted to have a chance to, I guess, offer a little quiz of sorts. So we might do different sorts of information each week. I thought it'd be appropriate, since we have the mayor here, to start with the Flint edition of the Black History Month quiz. There's no prize other than, I guess, bragging rights, perhaps. But feel free to shout out the answer if you think you know it. So the first question: what was the first racially integrated public recreational facility in Genesee County? Burston. It was Burston. It was Burston. So it didn't open that way, but about 10 years after it opened in 1923, centenary, then it became the first integrated public recreation facility in our area. Very good. All right. So second question: who was the first Black person elected to the Flint Board of Education? Oh. So I'll give you a clue. There was a elementary school, now closed, named for this person. Yes, Dr. Williams. C. Wendell Williams. He was a pediatrician here in Flint. All right. Third question: what is the term for racially discriminatory language that was often inserted into the deeds to prevent Black families and sometimes Jewish families from moving in? Okay, that's a similar concept, having to do with insurance rates and whatnot. A covenant, yes, a racially restrictive covenant. And so here's an example from the Sloan Museum that they've got a lot of photographs, and they're included in their new exhibits there, including this one here that has big billboards for Woodcroft right off Miller Road, restricted home sites. That's how they advertise them. So sometimes you'll find that even in deeds today that racist language is still in there. And so if you are ever looking at your own home deed and realize that's in there, Michigan State University Extension has resources and tools through their website to help you go through the legal process of removing that from your property deed. All right, and what were the names of the 2 Flint neighborhoods that Black families were limited to prior to the passage of the open housing ordinance in 1968? St. John was one. Laurel Park, that's right. And so you can see here on the left, this is from a U of M Flint website that they did a kind of history project focused on Laurel Park. And on their website, they have this little slider you can put back and forth. You can see what that neighborhood looked like prior to building the interchange with I-69 and 475 and what it looks like today. to get a real sense of the neighborhood that was and the changes that were put in place. And of course, the right picture there, that's from the St. John's neighborhood, which there's been a lot of effort lately with residents of that area to honor the legacy and the history of that place, as well as to understand those social forces that led to its demise to make way for 475. So if you haven't seen it yet, Sloan Museum and the St. John's Neighborhood Oral History Project, they put out a 2-part documentary so far. I think there's a 3rd segment forthcoming. They're both available on YouTube. They're about 20 minutes long each. And I thought they were really cool. So if you're interested in more information, that's a great resource. All right. And last but not least for today, who led Flint Civil Rights Commission and helped orchestrate the sleep-in at City Hall in support of open housing? Olive Beasley. That's right. Olive Beasley. That's right. No longer with us, but a fixture of Flint's history. So thank you for playing along, and we'll see what next week brings. All right. So wanted to see if there's any health and welfare updates from the floor. Any health or welfare updates? Okay, then we'll go ahead with guests if you welcome. I know we have several here today. Yes, Joy.
I have brought with me Coach Manal McKinney. She is, everyone knows who Coach is, but she's also, so Coach is also our executive director of our life examiner, we welcome you out to the team and
It was a long drive, but we got it. So Kate couldn't be here today, so I'm just, I always, and the development that is going to go. Okay. Thank you. My guest today, Robert Fitz. He is somebody I've known a long time. First volunteer at Grant, and great stuff. And here. I just want to thank all of you for being on every night like I do. Again, Centennial lecture and concert series all focused continually about the history of how overall we wrote our and have a chance to check out our website, lectures, we have one time after the February, we are going to feature the music of the first 25 years of college.
Wait, when do we get Paul's book?
We don't know yet.
Happy to have them. Do we have any guests on Zoom? I don't believe we do, so we will proceed. All right, with the all important joke duel results. Now I have to disclose that I had nothing to do with the counting of money for this. So that would have been a conflict of interest. So the result that I'm about to report is totally on Amy. And she's vouching, she doesn't know what I'm gonna say, she's vouching just the truth. And so I have to say it was a well fought match and a close one at that. But apparently I barely edged out. So thank you for. Yeah. All right, and now let's see our 50-50 raffle. So take out those tickets. Fred's gonna make his way up here.
President George, do we have an honest man or do I get a volunteer?
Are they mutually exclusive?
Mr. Mayor.
I want to win this time, Sean.
All right.
Man.
All right.
Now, were you in the service? Absolutely. What's the first thing you taught your recruits? Don't volunteer. Thank you.
All right, so to pull the first number here.
Stir them up carefully. I wouldn't want any insiders. Gary, to win unnecessarily.
All right, so for third prize, we have ticket number 714181. All right.
And for me. Yeah, I'll do that. Oh, thank you.
Okay, for second prize. Second prize is 714198.
I stole it.
I have to check your ticket. Maybe it's yours. It's not, oh, okay. 714198, going twice. 714198.
We have no one.
Going twice. All
Gone.
right, we're gonna pull it again.
You please.
All right, for second prize this time, 714173. Elizabeth Cummins, all right.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
And for the whole shebang here,
And now, for all the marbles. Feeling lucky, Drill Sergeant?
all right, first prize we have 714211. Carl Howard, excellent.
Oh.
All right, so that's going to bring us now to our main presentation for the day. And for that, I'm going to welcome up Rob Jewell while I get the presentation queued up here.
Thank you. Today, we're honored to begin our governance program for the month of February. As you know, it's our tradition of providing some insight to the issues, challenges, and opportunities facing our community, whether it be from a municipal, county, state, or national perspective. Today, we're honored to have the mayor for the city of Flint, Mayor Sheldon Neely. And you might have noticed in the newsletter, it also had for the next couple of weeks, somebody by the name of TBA. We're not really quite sure who TBA is. However, we are looking forward next week to having our two Michigan legislators, Senator John Cherry and also Representative Cynthia Nealing. About that last name sounds very familiar. Really not quite it is. And we're finalizing those arrangements. And then the following week, we're honored to then have our Congressman Dan Kildee. In closing out the month, we'll also then have the new chairperson for the Genesee County Board of Commissioners, Ellen Ellenberg. As we know, governance is about learning from the past, addressing the present, and preparing for the future. It's also about the differences between words intents, and outcomes, and also meeting the needs of, by, and for the people. Today, we're honored to have the City of Flint Mayor Sheldon Neely joining us. Also joining us as guest is Katie O'Neill. Katie, can you just wave hi to everybody? Who is the acting communications director, and also wave hi, Anita. Connie Mays, who is the executive administrative assistant, not to be overlooked, to make sure everything is going fine. It's Sergeant, is it not? Yes, Sergeant Tyree Booth with the Flint Police Department. That's basically, so I don't, but I do. So we're on it. Couple of highlights regarding Mayor Neely's background. If you want to see the entire script, feel free to go online. Couple of quick items. Lifelong resident of Flint, husband, I think it was, what was that lady's name? Cynthia, right, okay. And also father, 2 children, Taylor and Morgan. He's committed to his neighbors and his community. A graduate. You ready for this? How many Northern high school folks do we have in here? All right. Dr. Disney, oh good. Associate's degree from Delta Community College, and also attended Saginaw Valley State University. For those of you who may or may not be aware, he's been a broadcast engineer over at WJRT ABC 12. And if you're needing any additional background information on that, feel free to touch base with Michael J. I'm pretty sure he can provide you some additional insight. Some items. Also, during his involvement over the years as a local union president, his public service began back in 2002 with the Flint Civil Service Commission. And in 2006 was elected as a 6th Ward City Council member, the first African-American representing the 6th Ward. And after a period of times of being reelected, then moved on in 2014 to the Michigan State House as our state representative. For 2014, reelected 2016, 2018. And then in November of 2019, ran and became elected as mayor. And then most recently, last fall, November 2022, ran for re-election and was reelected. Anybody do the math? You know, it's 3 years versus 4 years. Those of you who are curious. The city charter was revised and altered and changed. And Jim, if I'm off track on this, you can correct me. The mayoral election and certifications was realigned to be in line with the gubernatorial kind of status. And so we're appreciative of that. He's also a member of Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church, considers himself a man of God. He's also a business owner with his wife, Cynthia. For those of you who are not familiar with, he has a background in golfing. He's an avid golfer, but I don't think he golfs that much. He's also a champion of Flint. On a personal note, he said it was okay for me to share this. I've known Sheldon for years. That's the disclaimer on his part. He's been my council person, my state representative, and my mayor. And I also understand he's established a special ringtone on his phone to identify my incoming calls. I don't know why he was trying to do that. You talked him into it, Michael? So without any further ado, please join me in a warm Rotarian welcome, Mayor Sheldon Neely.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. It's another great day that God has brought us here together, and I tell you, Rob just likes to talk. You know, I told him to give a short introduction because we're all neighbors and friends and family here. You know, me changing my ringtone didn't help, so I just changed my phone number. But most of you have the new number. If not, I'll give it to you, but with the condition that you will not share it with who. So for today, you know, we're going to be very quickly and succinctly, but I'm sure it's going to be educational, edifying, and somewhat entertaining. I'm going to give you some snippets of what we've been doing and what we've been accomplishing, but we are winning. So that each and every day, we are winning here in the city of Flint. And so we're going to get to a presentation. This is going to be a small portion of what I did for the state of the city address, making sure that we continue to move our community forward. But definitely, it's just, I want to thank, the communications person, Katie, and give her a round of applause. It's been very difficult. With all the level of requests that we have, trying to put together a very succinct message in a very troubling time in America. If you haven't noticed, America is very angry right now. We're very angry. It's going to take ambassadors like us to be able to change the dynamic, right? Initiated you all as ambassadors the last time I was here. And so we're going to give you good information. We're going to be truth there. And so every area in which you dominate, take the good information that we have about the great community that we represent. Whether you be a resident of Flint or just Genesee County, we have a responsibility to each other. And so we got good information today. And so our vision for the city of Flint, we will continue to move forward and we will be rewriting our narrative. We are a community of champions. We're not victims. And we'll be telling that story. I've been telling that story. I was in DC last week this time, and DC this time, 2 weeks ago, making sure we get the resources that's necessary to move our community forward. We have many obstacles to overcome. I call it the intersection of crisis, civil unrest, financial crisis, water crisis, and yes, a health crisis. So we were initiated, we were baptized by fire. Coming through prayer, planning, and partnership, I've engaged all of those things to be able to make sure that we can move our community forward. And so the first challenge, when we look at the challenges that we have, right, that cause some other things, financial crisis inside the city of Flint, structural deficit for many business owners here and the homeowners, everything we understand about finances and have enough resources to be able to sustain ourselves. Not one, not two, but three financial emergency managers have taken control of the city of Flint because of the structural deficit. At the time, we had one working employee for every 4 retirees, structural deficit, trying to overcome the cost for our pension system. So through a level of partnership with the state delegation, Senator Jim Amnek at that time, State Representative Cynthia Neely, John Cherry, and others, we were able to put together a big package. And we took it to Lansing, asking about how we can overcome our structural deficit. We put together a piece of legislation with my background as a legislative writer in coalition with others. We saved 19 communities throughout the state of Michigan that face some of the same challenges. We were only 24% funded when I took over, 26% funded when we were moving through this. Imagine that, working all of your life to collect a pension and could not, be there at the time that you needed it, right? So we got about $250 million from the state of Michigan to be able to overcome that pension challenge. $250 million, $220 million in the budget system, taking us from that likely 26% funded to a 60% funding ratio that took us out of harm's way as it relates to finance. We're now moving forward, trying to push forward to the area of getting us 100% funding. Many people thought when I announced that we were going to be taking on the challenge of our pension system, they said, how? There's no way to do it, right? We initiated that prayer and that planning and that partnership. We were able to overcome that. And so now I'm telling you that we're working toward that 100% funding for our pension system. What's the next slide here, Katie, here? And so when we look at the other challenges that we had beyond the financial challenges, we still face a water crisis inside the city of Flint, and we're moving fabulously along. We have been the first community in the country that underwent the challenges of this lead, copper, poisoning of our families and our children in this community. So level of triage, we had national news here. The world's eye was right here on the city of Flint about this lead, copper problem that we had. I know we're still overcoming, and we're still overcoming this challenge for some time now. But right now, we can report that we're about 97% finished with the replacement of lead service lines. 3% still going to finish, but I want to make sure that we're thorough and we're going to get the job done. Before we get into the portion of changing pipes in people's homes, is the residential service line. We have to get consent. We cannot come on property and just change your pipes. We have to get consent. Now, it's very difficult to get that consent. When I took over, files, things were very elusive. We had to really build it from scratch. We went through it, building it from scratch. And we're right there. We will be completing this year, is my projection, getting all of the lead out and making sure that we have the resources to do so. So replacing through excavation or hydrovacuum, getting in there and replacing this service line with a level of satisfaction for the customer, the residential customer. You know, the lead copper rule in our country, the EPA standards is 15 parts per billion. Anything under that is acceptable by our Environmental Protection Agency on the national level. State level, same 15 parts per billion. We have tested every single site and we have passed. But remember this, no amount of lead is safe. That's why we continue to give out filters at your homes, making sure that we can remediate the lead out of the water as it gets to the families that's in need of the water. No amount of lead is safe. I want to make sure I put a pin there, but we have been consecutively testing and making sure we monitor this to make sure we meet the requirements by our environmental protection agencies. Now, Flint is the most tested, the most revered community in the state of Michigan as it relates to this. We're being watched, but we still have to deal with the mentality and the psychological damage that has been done in our community. Many people may not ever wanted them to treat them mentality, and we understand that. We're dealing with those things here in the city of Flint. But don't let anybody tell you that we're not monitored and we're not testing and that we're not completing everything according to our environmental regulators. We're doing the right things. Next slide, Katie. Our water infrastructure, right? Genesee County, 33 units of government inside of Genesee County, Flint being one of the largest community inside of Genesee County. We have two water lines. It's mandated by our environmental agencies that we have a primary delivery system and a secondary delivery system of water. The secondary delivery system of water for the city of Flint has always been the Flint River, which was one of the elements that caused the problem with lead. So we're mandated to make sure that we have these things happen. So Gliwa system is a system that was fed by Detroit down the I-75 corridor and feeds communities inside of Genesee County. Carigandi is a new system that was built attaching to Lake Huron. 28 systems inside of Genesee County. 28 are on the Carigandi system. A couple more on well systems. The city of Flint is the only community inside of Genesee County that still gets its primary delivery of water from the Gliwa system. It was a 30-year deal signed an agreement prior to my arrival. 30 years is a long time. And definitely, I think that was a mistake. I'm being more bolder now about what I'm talking about. 30 years on a system of aging, older infrastructure. Now, August 13th, 2022, devastating thing happened. Our primary system line ruptured. 23 communities out throughout the state of Michigan was impacted. 22 negatively impacted. Flint, the 23rd, was not. When I came into office, one of the mandates was to put together a secondary delivery system. So we went to work very fast, very quickly to be able to construct the secondary delivery system in Lake Huron. We've had our challenges with city council, but we put $17 million into work, finding the contractors and went to work. About 2 or 3 months, after all of our testing, after the completion of our secondary delivery system, the rupture happened. Now, we would have been without water in the city of Flint, much like Jackson, Mississippi, if that line had ruptured and we had not started and completed that secondary delivery system. But explaining to members of our community about what we've done and how it happened for the construction was very, very challenging. So we produced an animation to be able to give you the information that you need about the secondary delivery system.
Flint has one of the nation's newest water infrastructure systems. This multi-million-dollar system has been upgraded to include a high-tech chemical feed building to safely and effectively treat the water, underground vaults to enhance water flow and blending, and an emergency backup storage system. Together, they work to ensure residents have access to safe drinking water in adherence with the State of Michigan Safe Drinking Water Act. Key to Flint's water system is Lake Huron, the source of our water. The upgraded water system also features the first in the city's history: 2 pipelines, a primary pipeline for daily use, and a secondary pipeline for use in the event of an emergency. The secondary pipeline has more than 7 miles of newly installed pipes. Flint's main water source and pipeline includes the Great Lakes Water Authority, GLWA pipeline, where raw water is pulled from Lake Huron for treatment, and the Genesee County Drain Commission, GCDC pipeline, where raw Lake Huron water is pulled from the Canagandie Water Authority, KWA, for treatment. Treated water from the GLWA pipeline travels into the upgraded Control Station number 2, which features a new valve system. The treated water then travels to an underground vault where it is blended with treated water from the GCDC pipeline. Chemicals are then added to meet safe drinking water standards. The water is now ready to be stored and distributed. Flint's water storage and distribution system includes 2 separate routes for water to travel to homes and businesses. The first route is the most straightforward, where water from the vault flows directly to homes and businesses. The second route involves water flowing to the water tower, where it is held for distribution into homes and businesses. A 2-way valve system inside the water tower pushes water into a 20 million gallon underground tank and then backup reservoir, the Cedar Street Reservoir. Later this year, an additional underground water storage and pumping station system, the Dorr Reservoir, will hold another 20 million gallons of reserve water to support homes and businesses in the event of an emergency. To learn more about the Flint Water Infrastructure System, a model for other municipalities with aging water infrastructures, visit www.cityoflint.com/progress report.
And with that, we put that out so people can get a very good understanding about what we've been doing in the last couple of years, making sure that we have a safe source of water for our residents. But affordability, we're excited for this, right? We pay some of the highest water rates in the country. We have to really work hard to be able to reverse course for the cost of water in this community. And so we've been doing that. President Biden released $1.2 trillion on America to be able to overcome our challenges through the COVID-19. Flint received $94.7 million. And so we've been working with those dollars, one-time dollars, transformational dollars, to make sure we put a great plan together that we can move our communities forward. One of the things that we want to do is take some of our American Rescue Plan dollars. That's what ARPA stands for. We took some of those dollars. We want to reduce water costs for residents by 1/4 with an equitable way to do so. The average cost of water for residential customers is about $1,200 a year. So we said $300 is 1/4 of that. And we reduced that cost, and that cost us about $8.6 million of our American Rescue Plan dollars. Now remember, those dollars, if you look at the partnership model, City of Flint, $94.7 million. County, Genesee County, $77 million. Flint Public Schools, $111 million. That's transformation if people work together. We need all of our great ambassadors to be able to pull us together as a community. Too much divide. Next slide, Katie. And one of the things that we want to use our American Rescue Plan dollars for is public safety. No one wants to engage in the community that's unsafe, whether it be business or residential. So we took some of our American Rescue Plan dollars to be able to put forth to our law enforcement suppression division. And so what we wanted to do was take dollars and say that we wanted to provide a level of incentives. Law enforcement officers throughout our country, retirements are up by 45%. Recruitment is down 5%. And people of color getting into those ranks is down 2% throughout our country. So we had to initiate some very new tactics under the leadership of Police Chief Terrence Green. I would say a joke about him, and I may, if you promise to tell him about it a little bit later on. But what we wanted to do was take some of those dollars and provide incentives for people joining the ranks of law enforcement officers, $5,000 signing bonuses, $7,500, yes, dollars for people transferring for other law enforcement agencies like the county or other law enforcement to really bolster our law enforcement forces. Also, we have put in place here in the city of Flint that we're initiating the only municipality in the state of Michigan that's going to have its own witness protection program. Many people know about crimes that's being committed, but they are afraid to tell what is going on. And so we have partnered with our prosecutor, David Layton, to initiate a witness protection program. Now, law enforcement officers, they're good, but they're not Superman. They can't do all the things that's required of them once they hit the scene. And so we want to make sure that if they cannot find the person who has committed the crime immediately, we're going to be reactivating our cold case unit. cold case activation. So we're putting that with civilian analysts, going back with retired detectives and others, go back and get those individuals who violate crime and our human rights throughout the course. Also, a gun bounty. It's not like a gun buyback program. People will tell you, specialists will tell you that gun buybacks do not work, right? $50 for that old 38 or $100 for that long rifle that grandpa owned is not the weapons that they're using out there. They use a military style weapons, tumbling bullets that can penetrate the walls of your home. So a gun bounty in partnership with our Detroit Crime Commission, we're putting a real bounty out for those assault style weapons, for a specialized weapon. Up to $1,300 we'll be giving for some of these weapons, and for somebody to tell us where we can get these weapons off the street. And so we've been doing that, and we use some of our partnership with our philanthropic organizations, my foundation and others, but also using some American Rescue Plan dollars to be able to do that. Now, you all have been here for a while, and you remember when Flint was noted as one of the most violent cities in the country, right? I'm proud to report to you that we're not even in the top 10 for the state of Michigan. And that's a very good one. Just as a side note on that, we see that Flint Township has been working to try to change their name because they want to get away from Flint. Flint Township is in the top 10 most violent cities. Hurry up and change the name, giving us a bad reputation. One of the things that we've been doing under the leadership of Chief Terrence Green, is that prior to my arrival in City Hall, once law enforcement officers has confiscated illegal weapons and took them off the street, prior to my arrival, they were auctioned back out. They're being sold, right? Which is a level of hypocrisy and a lack of critical thinking to recirculate these weapons back into population. Defacto making us all arms dealers. Every weapon that we collect now, we take off the street, we destroy. They'll come back as a paperclip, maybe a garbage can, but never a weapon. And we continue to do that. Last year alone, I think we destroyed more than 2,888 guns last year. And it's working. We're going to continue to use those cutting edge technologies and ideas. We're not afraid to move forward. I'm a mayor that I believe in the guarantee of now. What that really means, if I have the pen in my hand right now, I will strike it. I will use it. We will move forward. Okay, Katie? American Rescue Plan dollars. Right now, we have $94.7 million. We have obligated 40% of those dollars, pushing through things like for blight demolition, public safety, water rate reduction, and things of that nature. Just recently, we just had a webinar yesterday talking about $15.6 million going into operations for places that's needing these dollars, organizations and entities, and providing the technical assistance for them to get those dollars. We hired Ernst & Young, which is a top 4 accounting firm in America, to be able to go through the compliance portions of it. 400 pages of compliancy that has to be done. These dollars are a gift, one-time changing dollars. They came with rules. They came with a mandate. If you violate the mandate or the rules, you have to repay those dollars and lose the opportunity to use the rest of it. So we're very watchful of it. One of the guarantees I provide, that these dollars will not miss its mark. We will be able to track these dollars from its inception to its expiration. I guarantee it. Absence all the chicanery that goes on, mismanagement, and a passive level of corruption goes through government. Because you're my friend, you don't get a deal. Because you don't get these things, these level of favors to government. People deserve much better, much better. We're going to transform our community through these dollars and through the levels of partnership. And there's much, much more available to us. That's why I was in DC, not on a tourist trip, to secure more dollars for our community. One of the things we would also use our American Rescue Plan dollars for is we applied $3.25 million for the sale of Buick City, the 3rd largest brownfield site in the state of Michigan. Sat vacant for 20 years after General Motors left our community. And you all remember the robust manufacturing operation on that Buick City site. But it had to go into remediation, environmental remediation. Anytime you have that level of manufacturing there, you have to go through phase 1, phase 2 environmental studies, and you have to have a specialized company to come in to make sure this soil is treated and usable for other uses. Racer Trust was our partner. The last parcel of Racer Trust had to complete before Ashley Capital came in and says, we want to invest $300 million into your community for $17 million. And they said, we're not going to buy it if we have to do that level of investment for us to buy it. So I initiated a partnership with our partners. With our county partners who received $77 million, I asked them for an additional dollars from Genesee County, another $3.25 million of their American Rescue Plan dollars to partner with us. I went to the Mott Foundation, asking the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation to give us $2 million. And then also from the MEDC, for the state of Michigan, we asked for $8.5 million to get us to that total of $17 million to remediate that last parcel, be able to initiate the $300 million development deal that will create 3,000 to 3,500 jobs. Transformable. This is a game changer for our region. Game changer. This is a blessing. And so we want to make sure that we get good paying jobs for those individuals in that area as we go down the Poverty Corridor of Genesee County on North Saginaw and North MLK. And so we're doing a fantastic job. So we're just about ready to eat that deal. It's pretty much set. Those things are in place. Other things that we had done with our American Rescue Plan with the model of partnership, I believe strongly in partnership. We put $16 million into blight remediation for the city of Flint. So 2,200 structures will come down before 2024. We all know about these blighted structures, these homes in our community, including Flint up. And so what we want to do is change every $1 that we use to $3. So we entered into a deal that got us $39.5 million for demolition, with partnering with the land bank, also our philanthropic partners, getting us to that point. Contractors are being hired right now, as late as yesterday, to be going in to be able to do these contracts of demolition for our community. But my mind is not stuck there. Yes, we did a great job getting these 2,200 homes for being knocked down. But as a visionary, what did we put there? I'm off to that thought process now. That's where we are. And so be able to demo those, I guess it jumped 2,200 to 2,950. So yeah, we're doing some good work, right? And so, so this is the mapping area of where it was previously there, the mapping area of the first demos that's going to be happening throughout the city of Flint. You can see where the red dotted area. I think Katie probably put that data in just this morning. Okay. And so that's where we started, and that's what's going to happen. But what happens to the space, right? We have to maintain the space and then be able to repurpose the space for the use of our community. And we'll be working that plan very soon. And so 8,500 APR funds support blight removal. So we hired new people to work in our blight division, right? When I started in the city of Flint, there was only one person working in the blight division. People, misinformation clouded the area, right? I only had one person, that's the person who was answering the phones. Nobody was meeting. And so we worked very hard with the state of Michigan and also hiring people. So we got a grant. I want to thank State Representative Cynthia Neal for getting $1 million grant from the state of Michigan to be able to fund new equipment purchases, new personnel, things. And we're cleaning up, and they're doing a fantastic job cleaning up the blight inside the city of Flint. We cannot only be upset at the level of blight, but who's doing it? Somebody's dumping it, right? Somebody's putting it. I haven't seen a bed with legs or a toilet with wheels. It's getting to the street that kind of way. Right? And so we're taking a hard line with our partnerships with Crime Stoppers, putting a bounty out for those individuals that would treat our community as a garbage can, right? And so we have to be responsible too as citizens. When we do spring cleaning or clean out our attic or our garage, or we get that in the kitchen and that person comes in and do that work for you, ask them, where are you taking this debris? Sometimes they take it to a lightly inhabited neighborhood inside the city of Flint and dump it and says, nobody cares. I care, right? And we have to go through a community education process, right? I remember working at WGR2 with my friend Bill Fike and Mike over here. We used to do sign off. I used to work the graveyard shift. They had the better stuff. We used to sign off the air. Remember at the last commercial, right before the national anthem, we had the Native Americans standing at the top of the hill, and if you see a piece of trash and cry, or give a hoot, don't do it. We're not educating our young people. We're not educating our society. This is our home. We should not treat it as a garbage can. We're cleaning it up, but also we're taking a hard line on enforcement. Sergeant Tyrone Booth, not Tyree Booth, Tyrone Booth over there. He captured one of the individuals that we caught dumping. Maybe we saw it on the news. the other day when they said the mayor caught a dumper, right? I don't get the reward, so just don't get excited about that. But we confiscated that individual's car, that was used in illegal dumping. We're gonna make an example, because we mean business. Dumping of commercial tires. You know, you may have a couple tires in your garage that belong to you, but if you have a garage field or a vacant structure field with 200 tires, you know who's doing it. It has to be a company around here. And so we have to stop those of things. Okay, Katie?
That's why.
Okay. One of our great artists here, Mama Soul, you know, as a community, there is no campaigning comparing us. It's time we rewrite our narrative, right? That's a lyric in one of her songs, right? It's time that we rewrite our narrative. When I went to Washington, D.C., the conference of mayors, everybody, you know, when they said, how's Flint? They had a sad look on their face. They tilted their mouth. And look, I said, no, Flint is great. What are you talking about? We are great. We're a destination site for Michigan. You need to come and join us, right? No longer will we be viewed as victims. No longer shall we be viewed. We're a great, strong, thriving community. That's us. It's time for us to rewrite our narrative, but it just can't come from me. I need your help on this. And so we were adopting that thing. Thank you, Mama Soul, for that, but we will be adopting it. It's time that we rewrite our narrative. All right, Katie. Nope. There's a whole bunch of stuff there. Well, I just shortened some of this stuff. Nope, go back. So you know what we're doing with Burston Field House on the north side of the city of Flint? We'll be changing one of the oldest recreational sites that we have inside the city of Flint, making it a destination place. We've been investing that with our partners from the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation and other entities to make that great. We lost a great county commissioner, which is Brian B.B. Nolden, which was a great partner for me to have over at the county. Now we're looking for, you know, the same opportunities to have a pathway to success. And he did a fantastic job. And we put $1.5 million of our American Rescue Plan dollars into position to be able to make that site a great thriving place for recreational opportunities for our families. And so now we've been continuing to move. We use our space at City Hall as well to be able to rethink the things that we're doing and to be able to reuse the property that we have inside the city of Flint. If you know, this last year, you know, we had many fairs coming to local communities, Ferris wheels, rides, and different things, but we are always very fearful because of the nefarious activity that can occur. I think it was a shooting at a few of them. So when they asked me what were we going to do, what we're going to allow that level of activity in the city of Flint, I said, yes. I said, how are we going to curb the violence? And so what I did, I don't know if we still have this in the slide deck, Katie, we don't, but I put the carnival right behind City Hall, right next to the police department. And we offer free meals, barbecues, and everything for law enforcement officers, whether they're on duty or off duty. So they were hanging back there as well, right? So that deterred individuals that would engage in bad activity, utilizing the land space in which we own for a great opportunity for young people and families to go recreate without the worry of something happening to us. Next one, Katie. Okay. Okay. Well, what we're gonna do is that, you know, State Park downtown, I told her to give me a cue 5 minutes before I actually need to stop. But State Park coming right down to the old Chevy in the whole common, $22 million of investment is going there, right? We're gonna be engaging out of the 83 counties in the state of Michigan, Genesee County is the only county without a state park. So we petitioned our governor and the legislative branch to be able to bring a state park here to the city, to our county. And you know, I push for the county, yes, but I also push for the community. And we're going to be modifying and changing this. As you look at going to the west from that area from Chevy Commons, we had the Mott Park Golf Course right around where Rob lives in that area, but it was closed down through emergency management. And so we're looking at making sure that is a part of this new operation so we can have canoeing and boating and a lot of recreational opportunities. It will be a destination site. It wasn't just a line that I made up or I just said. It will be that for the city of Flint. And so, you know, I'm gonna leave you with a quote, and then if we have time, I'll answer some questions here. But I'm gonna give you this quote. Let me see if I can pull this up. Because it requires heavy work of all of us to be able to do the things that's necessary for our community. Justice is important in our community. It's not just when we have people living in poverty. It's not just when we have neighborhoods that's likely engaged or school districts is not really educating our children. And this quote says, "Indeed, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just. that his justice cannot sleep forever. That was written in 1785 by Thomas Jefferson. The level of justice that we have is in our hearts and our minds. We have to come together, whether black or white or rich or poor, Republican or Democrat. We have to come together for the benefit of our children. Kids cannot become what they cannot see. They will emulate what they do see. I'm fearful when they see city council meetings and people using disparaging words on one another and these areas are supposed to be honorable. I'm very fearful for our children when they see a school board meeting and they see one person attack another person there. I'm very fearful when I see a college board and they're using words of disparate words. What examples are we providing for our young people? And how dare us get frustrated when they emulate the behavior in which they watch? So my ambassadors, you are that. We talk about, we just did a little African-American trivia. I almost lost my black card. I did answer one question correctly. Make sure I got it, right? And so, we did some things in our last year, making sure kids can have an opportunity to see some reflections of themselves in our community. We didn't have not one statue of African-American inside the city of Flint before we put one up last year. We have to right-size things and encourage each other to be supportive of one another. And how much time do I have, Katie? Is that time out? Okay, I'm done. I'll open up for Q&A. We won't show you the 3-minute video, but we're done. And thank you guys for your time listening.
Mayor, go back to view of the city. What is your vision for that site?
Like that site will be populated by Ashley Capital. What they usually they manufacture space to spec for companies, right? One of their biggest clients is Amazon, right? And we have to be able to utilize the things, the infrastructure that Buick and General Motors left us, right? Transportation, railways, highways, air. We have all those things here. And so they look for clients and they look at the specs before any company of that size comes here and says, we're going to make this level of investment. Who can they rent to? Who can they build the spec for? So if they're building, I'm sure that others are coming to be able to provide these high-paying jobs. So my vision for this industrial site down the Poverty Corridor going North Saginaw, 3,000 jobs or 3,500 jobs, livable wage jobs, new residents in this community. Multiplier that's going to come about, bars, grocery stores, restaurants in that area. It's going to make it's going to populate there, and it's going to have a recurring revenue stream to support other things and other activities in this community. But we first had to clean up the blight, crime, and other things to make it more palatable, right? We once were home to about 250,000 people. No longer we're that. We're about 88,000 for the last census, but I'm sure by the time we get to the next one, we'll be well over 100,000 with this vision. With this level of demolition, what do I do with this level of demolition? I told you earlier, once we knock down these now 2,900 homes and structures inside the city of Flint, what's going to happen next? I'm already looking at that, right? So parcels usually are inside the city of Flint, 40 by 80, like small parcels, because we have a very densely populated area, places for people to come migrating from the south, coming to these little places. But at some point in time here, in the very near future, I'll be joining parcels, giving 2 parcels for the price of 1. Encouraging stick builds, new builds, and homes here for families that's coming here. Changing the educational system, right? I have to do that. That's why you've been seeing my reaching out to the community and also the public school system. 15,000 school-aged children inside the city of Flint, but only 2,800 are going to Flint public schools. How do we get those kids back in the classroom? How can I help the superintendent move that forward if they have a dysfunctional board? Right? We have to use our area of influence. Pick up that phone, call them on the carpet. It's time. We cannot just be spectators of this. This is our lives. This is our community. I want to make sure that the Flint Public Schools, which I'm a proud graduate of, are strong in making sure that we get those kids here. No more using these kids or monetizing education. Each kid represents about $8,200 for a per pupil allocation for school districts. Charter schools set up in your area, and sometimes they use that and take that money. And then when they find out the kids are 2 or 3 grade levels behind, they inject them, put them back into the public school, and expect us to educate, right? So we have to really work hard to be able to change that. And I know it's a long answer to a question, but that's okay.
So Mayor Neely, this might be an unfair question, but. What's taking place in the city of Flint so that we're not the next Memphis? How are we working with the police department so that, another young Black person doesn't lose their life?
Yeah, well, we know, we're very progressive about the way we do policing, right? So we put some things into place in position about with anybody losing their life, just not Black or African American, right? So we've done some cutting edge things, right? Remember I told you about the guarantee now? So Peacekeeper, as a group, right, a national group, mostly returning citizens, right? People coming out of incarceration that said turned in and changed their lives. Nation of Islam, mostly Muslim. We brought them in to train de-escalation tactics to our law enforcement officers. We do our psychological evaluation of police officers pre, during, and post everything. We're making sure, we just don't want a warm body in the uniform. Chief Green has a very zero level of tolerance. We will put a person out very quickly if we find them in violation. We have brought body cams many times so we can evaluate how they're treating residents upon engagement, making sure that there's another level of security that we have. So we have done all these things in the last couple of years. And so we continue to engage the community, making sure the community understands that how you address police officers and how you can not get in a situation that will cause a level of conflict. And so we're acutely aware of those things. And if you notice that we have very little incident inside the city of Flint with other things that are going on around us with state officers and county officers. Not to say that they're doing it bad, but we're doing it differently and we will continue down that path.
All right, I think we have just time for one more quick question and then we'll thank our visitors.
Mayor, do you have any advice or thoughts on dealing with dysfunctional government in Genesee County? I'm thinking here at the Flint City Council, the Flint School Board, and now maybe the Lot Board of Trustees, and you know with that. I think the two comments you made during your state of the city of this.
Yeah, what it is this is that, you know, since social media has moved and we talk about Facebook and all other elements of social tools, I call them thumb thumbs, right? They get out there and provide a level of misinformation to all the things and cause a level of confusion, right? We have to elect better people. We have to be a very good stewards of our vote, right? And what we have to do is, what I decided to do is saturate the environment with good information, making everybody an ambassador of good information. Those thumb thugs will not be able to continue to live in that environment. And so when we talk about those individuals that's creating all this havoc, you'll see the same individuals moving from place to place, getting on the public microphone, causing this level of confusion, and then they highlight the individuals that's the most dysfunctional, right? I call them PTDs, politically transmitted diseases, right? And so we have to inoculate ourselves by getting good people in position and following. You know, last year was a very difficult year for my family. Many of you guys know, you know, it was very difficult. It was a campaign year, a lot of personal things. Lost my mother, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, but we had to continue to run the city correctly. We had to continue to move forward through all the misinformation and a lot of death threats, right? And that's why you see Tyrone with me many times. And I'm a guy from Flint, and I think I'm pretty tough, right? But you know, when you get real valid death threats and they review them and look at them, right? They collected C4, military grade explosive officers. Think about that. It was in a cargo, right? 3 kilos of what is that drug? Fentanyl. 3 kilos of fentanyl. Just so you get an idea, 3 kilos of fentanyl is enough to kill every resident inside the city of Flint. Our environment is changing. And so it was a very difficult year. And so I, you know, also just take this time to thank you for the prayers and support that we've seen. But we will continue to do the good job for you. And unapologetically and intentionally, we will do so. And so just stay engaged. Mr. Rizik, I want to call Dr. Rizik because he's always politically, he's always engaged with getting a better class of individuals. And the ones that you have, hold their feet to the fire. Hold their feet to the fire. Don't allow them to do the mischievous things and push back against the dominant tendencies of a dysfunctional community. And we have to change it. We owe it to our children, right? Thank you.
All right, with that, thank you so much, Mary Neely, for your remarks today. I feel like I am much more informed coming out of today than I was coming in. So thank you for that. A donation has been made in your name towards Rotary International's efforts to eradicate polio as a way of saying thank you. I'd also like to say thank you for all the Rotarians who brought a guest today or who were part of the club service activities. So Rob for introducing the speaker, Jean, thanks for your inspirational message. Dawn, making sure we have our bulletin is terrific. Terry, always here for setup and thank down. Setup and thank down, that's a new one, take down. And of course, Fred for bringing us the raffle today. We will be here again next Friday, focusing on governance. Anybody remember what the program's going to be on?
TBD.
It was TBD, and now it is state level representatives and senators. So stay tuned for that. We'll have more Neely next week.
I will not tell Cindy in my mouth.
Not back up. We'll stand adjourned.